Okay, so thanks everyone. Thanks TDK for organizing this panel. I've been working in the XR industry for more than 10 years, and I always enjoy sharing and incentivizing people to come to the journey. So I think that many of you have already heard and thought about, I'm using the term XR, to encapsulate AR, VR, MR, or spatial computing. But as the next generation of compute, right, going from PC to smartphone to now what's next, which is a head-worn headset or a glass. I also like to see it as the internet to the mobile internet to spatial internet. I actually like the spatial internet, spatial computing, a lot of terms, to define the same thing. But we have a great set of panelists today. I'm actually honored to be, on the same stage as many of them. Actually, all of them I worked very closely together in previous lives, and I think that the idea here is really to share, what we see in this industry. Hopefully, both as an awareness for what's to come, and opportunities for you all to get get involved, either from an investment, from technology development, because I strongly believe it's going to happen, and I think my panelists will agree with me. So, without further ado, let me just do a quick round of introductions, and then we will start with questions and just have a lively debate here. So first, Edgar Auslander, currently at Meta, Senior Director of Strategy and Partnerships. Why don't you say a few words about yourself, Edgar?
Okay, so after 35 years of several startups and large companies like Welcome and so forth, I joined Meta at 9 years ago, and I originated the partnership with Essilor and Luxottica, who were at the time two different companies in the process of merging, and I suggested the product line that became Ray-Ban Meta product line. Believe it or not, not everybody agreed at the beginning.
Yeah. And actually, before, well, actually, let me introduce myself. I think I forgot. But by the way, I forgot my cheat sheet. So, anyhow, we'll make it fun. I'm Hugo. I work at Google and driving our ecosystem strategy and technology for Android XR. Android, of course, you have Android Mobile, Android Auto, Android Wear, Android TV. Android XR. And my role is really to build up the ecosystem from a technology partnership perspective, solutions, components, and hardware, to a large extent. So next, I have Tim. Can you say a few words about your role at Snap and what you do there?
Sure. My name is Tim Simons. I'm a Director of Engineering at Snap. I've been at Snap for approximately 10 years. I've held multiple roles and overseeing many of our different engineering departments in the advancements of AR glasses. So we are specifically focused on the development and enablement of augmented reality products. Many of the roles I've held are in electrical, mechanical, and silicon engineering, and been through a lot.
And congrats on your latest glasses. I'm seeing a lot of traction with developers.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Then, of course, to make glasses in particular, something that everyone wears for the whole day, that is active for the whole day, and have a capability, one of the key aspects that we need to address is, of course, a battery. And, we have the pleasure to having Samira with us. She works at Enovix, and who has a leading technology for the advancement of batteries. So maybe quick intro.
Sure. Hi everyone, Samira Naraghi. I'm the Chief Business Officer for Enovix, where we build and manufacture advanced lithium-ion batteries with silicon anodes for next generation of consumer electronic devices, including smartphones and the connected IoT and wearables, including these next generation of XR glasses as well as defense platforms. Prior to Enovix, I spent 20 years in cloud infrastructure and semiconductors and connectivity. Companies like Meta, Amazon, and Qualcomm. So my perspective today on this panel is going to be mostly from a hardware and energy point of view. It's great to be here.
Thanks, Samira. Then we have Jim Tran, who I worked very closely in a previous company together, at Qualcomm. By the way, we're just joking that 80% of the panel here comes from Qualcomm in previous lives. And the second joke is that Tim probably has a Qualcomm in spirit somewhere. But Jim, first, thanks for organizing this as part of TDK. And can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. So I'm Jim Tran. I'm the head of TDK US. So I have a lot of different roles. One of my main roles is to basically help TDK find new markets and to kind of combine the technologies we have from R&D and from the different business units to enter these new markets. And I'm on the AR/VR panel today because this is one of the things I've been focused on. To Hugo's point, finally I think it's going to happen. Everyone's been talking about this for a long time. I was at Qualcomm with Hugo for a long time, and I watched him grow at the business at Qualcomm, and just always wondered when it was going to happen. But I think it is coming now. So happy to be here. Thank you.
And then T1, another good friend, who had a few companies in his belt, and the latest one now as part of TDK. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Taewon Lee. I'm really happy to be here, CEO of SoftEye. SoftEye was recently acquired by TDK about 3 months ago, and we're part of the TDK family. So I'm really happy to see actually a lot of TDK members here. But at the same time, I'm actually also happy to see other companies and fellows that I've worked with very closely. Aside from the Qualcomm family, I would say, so Hugo and I, we work together, and of course Jim and so on as well. But a few Samsung guys, actually, Samsung Ventures guys that I just ran into, they were the first investor, the second investor after Snap actually came in. So Tim was actually the first one who saw the value. Of course, I didn't have to explain glasses to him, right? For them, basically, they were pioneering AR glasses, AI glasses, and so on. And so for us, it was a great synergy. Samsung Ventures was also part of it. And so, and now that really the ecosystem between ventures and also larger corporations, to see all of it grow together and then look at the opportunities that's ahead of us with, Meta's glasses, Snap glasses, and other things. I think Google and Samsung are launching today a new VR headset, Muhan, that's going to also, I think, make its way out there to customers. I think it's all a great opportunity. I'm really happy to be here at the panel.
Yeah, no, thanks. And you can see the caliber of the panelists and the synergy, between what we do in moving this industry forward. First, just picking on what Jim mentioned in terms of why now. If you look at most of our companies, we've been investing in XR for over 10 years. Looking to Google Glass, Tango, Daydream. Those are things that Google invested for many years. And now the question that everyone is, why should we get in again? And or restart, revamp, this initiative. And there are two main reasons that we are strongly believing in investing, doubling down on it. First is readiness, right? We see that technology is way more mature today way more ready to start seeding and making commercial products, good quality commercial products, viable. When you look into processors, displays, waveguides, cameras, sensors, batteries, it's all coming together nicely from a timeline perspective. And the second one, obviously the advent of GenAI, LLMs, and the whole conversational aspect of AI agents. That's a great match for something that you wear the whole day. Many say, well, could GenAI be, what the touch did to smartphones, right? Because of as an input, as a way to interact with the head-worn device. So that's kind of two strong reasons why now, and we see it, and maybe to talk a bit more about that, maybe let me ask Edgar first on the spectrum of devices, maybe just from a terminology perspective, the form factors might be worth talking about. Both, what are the form factors that you see, and maybe a meta angle on the things that you're investing on?
Sure. I don't want to take a cheap shot about the come and go, but Meta was determined to do that since 10 years. We acquired Oculus, and then we didn't stop investing in both VR, MR, and AR. So about the spectrum of XR, I view this as like VR, completely immersed, fully digital. MR, immersed yet video pass-through. Full AR, same thing but optical see-through. Light AR, same thing but no word lock. And I make this distinction because when you have word lock and you do really scan the room and position the virtual object precisely on the seats and so on, it's very tough to come up with glasses that are worn all day and are comfortable and stylish and less than 40 grams, for example. And then at the other extreme of XR, and I'll explain why I still consider that XR, is the smart frame, where there is no display. So why is it XR? Because it's enhanced. You have a augmented reality by audio. you are enhanced. It's not only visual, it's also audio type of enhancements. So if I do an analogy of, if you take the weight and the field of view, and 0 field of view is no display, and 100 is completely immersed, then you have if you do 50 and below 50 is all day wearable, and you do 30 in terms of field of view, then you have four zones, right? You have the all day wearable, then you have something a bit too heavy but still with some display capabilities, and then on the upper right, where you are far above 50 gram or 80 gram or whatever, there you can have what I call full AR or MR. And then the lower corner is extremely difficult to come. It's like immersive and 40 grams and so forth. So metaphorically, here you have bikes, here you have airplanes, and here you have flying bikes. So last time I said that, Nicolas said, we are investing in flying cars. But, okay, and then another joker told me, okay, but Clément Ader is the inventor of the airplane, or right if you are in the US. And they said, these are flying bikes. Yeah, okay, so that's the problem. If they consider this is a flying bike, that's part of the problem. Yeah. So I'm not making fun of any of those things. An airplane is very useful for me to go back to Paris. I won't bike there, right? Yeah. But an airplane is not very useful for me to circle around So this is, the confusion here is, they are all very useful. They have different use cases, different weight, different budgets. Mm-hmm. And they all are worth doing. So back to your question, where is Meta investing? Why we are investing in these two corners with the hope one day of doing flying bikes. But personally, because I'm very pragmatic, I don't know when that will happen. Maybe after I retire. So these are the two zones that are very important. And for contextual AI, you need to have to be in this lower corner of all-day wearable.
Okay, so I have a proposal to the panelists that we get to the flying bike before you retire.
Yeah, I'll be happy. Actually, sometimes I wonder.
Don't retire this year. Okay, so maybe looking at what Snap is doing, we started to talk about the glasses that you guys have. Mostly a developer edition.
That's right. Yeah. So last year we launched our 2024 glasses. It's a standalone product with see-through augmented reality displays. To your point, it's a little larger than we'd like it to be, but we're making a lot of advancements to bringing down the weight and bringing down the size. And we're planning to launch our first consumer-grade AR glasses next year, so 2026. So we've really seen a lot of the technologies, a lot of the enabling technologies that Hugo mentioned earlier, get to that right size, get to that right level of capability to, enable fully world-locked experiences in a much smaller form factor.
And can you maybe share a bit, whatever you can share, in terms of your vision for what kind of functionalities you see from where you are today to what a first wave of consumer products will enable, maybe from a use case perspective and...
This technology is still in its infancy, right? So it's a bit nascent, and as we're looking to really make this more consumer accessible, we have to really drive down the price point over time, right? And I think right now these see-through optics are fairly expensive, so we're really looking at what does it take to commoditize that technology and make it more accessible to consumers. So. Our vision for augmented reality is really enabling people to be grounded in the world around them, to interact with the virtual content and physical content in the world around them. That really adds a significant amount of value over the technology that exists today. So we really think that in order to sell products like this, you're going to need to create a differentiated experience over the mobile phone and over the watch. And so our focus is really leaned in on the types of experiences that you can only do with augmented reality and solve the types of problems that really shine in that space. So.
And maybe just a follow-on question. I mean, you guys have been investing quite a bit, even acquiring companies. Any thoughts on, hey, what do you want to have in-house versus, collaborating with the industry?
Yeah, I think that, this is a space that is still evolving very, very rapidly, right? And I think very different takes on how to lean into augmented reality and to enable that technology. And so until the industry settles down a little bit, we've really been focused on identifying the technologies that enable the experience that we believe will resonate with consumers. And so it's really been us picking and choosing the right technologies over time. As things evolve and as things solidify a little bit more in this space, I think that there's definitely opportunities to share those technologies. So.
Okay, I see you getting excited for a...
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm inspired by one of the things my colleague said. I want to give the teleprompter, for example, as an example of an application. It's not for consumers, but for people who are in a panel and who don't know what to say. It's good to have a teleprompter.
I would like that.
And it shouldn't be word lock, because I don't want my teleprompter only there, and when I look here, I lose my teleprompter. So it's very much about what is the A to Z use case.
Right. No, I agree. I have another story, but let's first talk about how to make these glasses small. And of course, part of it is the processing, the displays and so forth. But a lot of the weight and the size of these glasses are fairly driven by battery. You want as much battery as possible, but there's the trade-off on weight and comfort, which if it is not comfortable, people are not going to use. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about what Enovix and you, or maybe just kind of a technology-wise, how do you see us getting there?
Yeah, happy to. So, our view is that generally battery is the invisible ceiling for all wearables. And so, as you rightfully pointed, there's been a huge strides in advancing pretty much every component that goes into these glasses, from displays to processors, cameras, sensors, and now AI. But the truth is, even with the latest generation of these smart glasses that are available today, they use a fairly small capacity battery, up to 250 milliamp hour capacity batteries, and that's barely enough runtime for a few hours of basic use case. And if you add dual displays and you want to continuously watch a video or do video recording, that leaves you with just minutes of performance. And the real challenge is the temple of these glasses is fairly small. It's just millimeters of space, and you want to pack as much energy as possible into these temples without making them bulky and geeky looking. And so, the new sleek glasses look really good, but if you can't use them for a long wear time, the magic sort of disappears. So what we are doing at Enovix is we are trying to pack as much energy as possible into this smaller form factor, and that we can offer with our higher energy density batteries by using silicon anodes and such. And that really translates into longer runtime, smaller and thinner form factor, and that's where you don't really have to make a trade-off between fashion and function. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't look good, you won't wear it, and if it doesn't run for a long time, you won't use it for an all day. So you wanted to add something.
I just wanted to add, if you looked at I think the trend line of battery capacity year over year, it's like 5 to 6%. And I think what Enovix has been doing and really integrating the silicon anode technology and enabling that has really created like a step function change there. So it's been pretty impressive to watch the work that you guys are doing to really increase capacity in such a small volume as quickly as you have.
Yeah, thank you. And working with all the partners in this ecosystem has been really helpful for us to really know what are the use cases and sort of what are the ultimate form factors that we need to fit in this increased sort of capacity.
Great. We need that. And, we also need a lot of what TDK, is working on. And Jim, you mentioned that XR, is an area that you're investing, that you're seeing the opportunity. Maybe can you talk a little bit more about, your vision and what are the areas that you see promising for TDK?
So I think for TDK, we've always been invested in AR, VR. It's not like we just woke up and did it, right? So battery technology, sensors, a lot of our sensors are in a lot of the glasses today. So we've been kind of continuously investing. But if I step back a little bit, I look at the fundamental thing that we all just talked about, right? It starts with power. Yeah. How much power you're going to consume and how much power you can deliver. So as we were building these technologies, we always look towards how do I drive down the power consumption and how do I increase the battery capacity, right? But that all depends on some use cases. So we live and breathe power as a system world to make sure we do that, right? Power drives these four things, these metrics that we always talk about inside our teams. It's not a lot of people already mentioned it. Usability. Can I use it all day? A lot of people wear glasses all day long because that's their prescription. They got to wear it all day. That behavioral lifestyle doesn't change just because now you have a high-tech pair of glasses, right? Secondly, it has to be comfortable. The thing is so heavy because it's more than 50 grams, or I think Edgar said 40, but if it's more than 50 grams, you're not going to wear it for more than 20 minutes, and then it's too heavy on your nose, okay? Lastly, it's fashionable because it's on your face. That's the first thing you see is someone's face. Right? A watch, you can put it, underneath, or you can have your hands on the side. Not as distracting, but it's on your face, so it has to be fashionable. And then the last piece a lot of people don't talk about is scalability. The technology today, a lot of folks use waveguide. Waveguide, you have to laminate that material onto someone's prescription lens. That's a difficult scaling problem when everyone has a different prescription lens. Okay, so at TDK, we've been working on various technologies, sensors and whatnot, but we've also been working, we announced it early in CES this year, this retinal projection. Avoid that waveguide issue. Waveguide is notoriously, inefficient. I think the best is like 10% if you're lucky, right? So the amount of energy from electrical to optical is very difficult to get that efficiency. So we've been working on this retinal projection to kind of get the image into your retina, right? So if you see CES later this next year, you'll see a lot of the demos that would be. So taking that plus our acquisition of SoftEye, which is ultra low power, eye intent. So combining that, I think the vision we have is to see, basically with the new AI LLMs, can AI see what you see?
Yep.
Give the AI the contextual awareness, not just sound, not just the IMU, but the eyes, your eyes. So that's kind of the vision that we have.
And make it a very energy efficient way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right,
And that drives everything else, right? A lower battery, lower consumption, you don't need a bigger battery.
That's right.
Even if you have the best battery, we're trying to get the most out of it, right? So and that drives the form factor.
Just a softball maybe to T1, which is like you want to be always sensing, right? Always looking, right? It needs to be, the classic use case of, where did I leave my keys, right? So that means if you want to enable that use case through AI, well, that camera needs to be on, pretty much, through the, through your day.
Yeah.
And doing that at low power, at the right resolution for the algorithm to make use of it is a key cornerstone.
Yeah.
So, maybe why don't you talk a little bit more about SoftAI and what you do?
Sure, happy to do that. And then also, I think the linkage from low power to always on camera, and then of course contextual awareness. Those are the three key words that really motivated us at SoftEye to develop a system that's kind of showing the AI to basically where the user is looking at, and then having that first level of interface between the user and the AI, right? So basically the visual interface. And for us, basically what we had to do was to come up with a system that had, essentially for us, was actually 3 cameras. So one camera per eye to look into the eyes to see where the user is looking at and gazing at certain objects, for example. And then there is the always-on front-facing camera to also understand the context of where the user is. And the combination of those 3 cameras had to be always on in order to really convey the context of where the user is. Is the user, for example, shopping something, or is a user studying something, or is a user eating some or cooking something? And understanding that context is important for the AI to really assist in multiple ways, right? And that has to be done in a way that it's really low power, so that a small battery can still allow the glasses to be on for the entire day, essentially, right? I mean, glasses are devices that you don't want to charge in the middle of doing something, right? You want is to be charged once and then last for all day. You want it to be fashionable, and so it has a lot of technical challenges that you have to overcome. And for us, the visual challenges was one of the things that we tackled first. And I think that the devices right now are more, I would call them more of an on-demand AI right now, where you press a button or you say a keyword and then you instigate the AI to give you a response, right? Which is a good way of starting. But when it comes to contextual awareness, then it's really something that has to be on as a sensor all the time. And if that's the case, then you can really build a very intuitive interface to the AI, right? So you basically, the AI would know when you need help, what kind of help you would need. And that then leads to basically the connection to the AI to be much stronger. And then with that, it will then become a device that is really indispensable for the user, just like the smartphone, right? I think this morning, right, Nicola, we had your panel with on the data center side where people were asking whether there's going to be another device sometime coming up that's going to be like a smartphone. And if you think about it, I mean, there are always certain transformations that actually lead to a new set of devices, right? I mean, smartphone wasn't here for 100 years, right? It's just It's been around for maybe 20 and so on, right? But before smartphone, people didn't think that people were happy with what feature phone, right? They would think that I don't need anything more than a feature phone, actually, right?
I actually, we were discussing this after, at lunch as well, which is when I started my career early 2000, it was about, hey, the internet to mobile internet, right? The advent of the smartphone. And it's not like we didn't know what the use cases were going to be. It's like, yeah, you want to do video calling? Yes, I want. We'll do navigation. Yeah, you want to listen to music? Yeah, you want to watch NFL? Yeah. I mean, we knew the use cases, but getting it all right, it takes. It's not an overnight process. Is even on the phone days, it was about getting the display right, getting the processor right, getting the battery right. Then technology, good. Now it's about the content that is ready for whatever the application or content and application for where the technology is, and then things evolve from there.
Hugo, just a funny comment actually that just comes to my mind is because we're several of us from Qualcomm days and so on, right? Yeah. In fact, there was a friend of mine who was an early Qualcomm employee and researcher, and he came up with the idea of attaching a camera to the phone a long time ago, and he wanted to patent it. And he almost got fired for this idea because everybody thought it was such a stupid idea to put a camera into a phone. Why would you do that, right?
I mean, I didn't know that story, but in the beginning, I remember having those questions on privacy and who would have a camera on the phone. Now we won't be able to hide, and look where we are today, right? So I think there's a lot of not only technology but even what's socially acceptable and not, that changes.
By the way, it's a French guy who invented that. It's Can, who actually took a picture of his baby when she was born, and he hooked a camera with a phone, a feature phone, and he sent it via text.
SMS?
To tons of people. So you can check that. The camera phone is invented by Can. But it was...
well, you felt a little bit about the story that you said, that, hey, you proposed the idea of a camera glass, and it took a while for people to accept the idea too.
It's different. I think the company was more. One of the hints of my story is the name was changed from Facebook to Meta, like metaverse. And metaverse means you are immersed and so on. So, who wants a displayless camera and who wants a monocular small field of view? Well, nobody, right? In the metaverse.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, for everybody who wants to build airplanes, a bike is useless.
Right.
But I thought, for contextual AI, it would be good to have that.
Yeah.
And it was before the fashion of we want AI and so on.
Yeah, no, but I think it is good to have both quadrants being covered. They're fairly. There are synergies and overlaps, but they have their own uniqueness. Here at Google, we're also looking into both, the airplane and the bike. Actually, the airplane. I mean, I shouldn't be calling it an airplane, but we have a launch actually tonight at 7 p.m. So that's my little advertisement, Nicola, for the panel. But we're launching the MR headset with Samsung, and we're very excited about the opportunities of not only the glasses but also immersive headsets that have many applications beyond gaming. We do want to have a few minutes for questions, but just before I do that, I think the panel here, we wanted to discuss any other barrier that you see, for the ramp of the category to really happen. if there's anything, I mean, we discussed a lot, and I think there is consensus about the maturity of the industry. We're getting there, but anything else that any of you want to bring up before we open for?
Yeah, maybe I can just add a little bit more to that question by just going back to what we spoke earlier about what is the next device that's going to replace the smartphone. And I think maybe it's not 100% clear. Of course, it's not clear to everybody's mind, but when you think about replacing the smartphone is actually really a hard task, of course, because everybody's tethered to it. But I think there are scenarios where maybe another device takes over some of the functions that the glasses do now, or that the smartphones do now. Right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, once you have an ecosystem where multiple devices actually take over certain functions, then the need for reaching out to the smartphone is less, I would say, right? So maybe if you think about, the need for laptops now is maybe less than when it was maybe 10 years ago, right? So fast forward 10 years ago, the need for reaching out to the smartphone is less because a lot of information comes through maybe the watch, maybe the glass, maybe the ring, and other variables that actually provide a more contextualized use, especially when it's all going into the AI and in the presence of AI, the agentic AI is actually a lot more developed then.
Yeah, I think it's maybe less of a question of the substitute, but how the two work together as an ecosystem. And I think that's kind of something that many are investing in. Hopefully, it becomes very seamless. Tim?
So I agree with everything Taewon was saying, and I think one of the big barriers I see is just in terms of getting consumers to adopt products like this is we've just got to build public trust. You're taking advantage of this location on somebody's face, and you have cameras that are pointing out of the world. You get a lot of sensitive information. I think designing these products with privacy in mind at the forefront of the technology, I think, is really important. And I think as you earn that consumer trust, I think you'll also break through into larger segments of the population, and I think that will help accelerate the industry significantly.
Cool.
This is extremely true. That's why, by the way, we had this LED to make sure that people see that when they take a picture and things like that. To add to the obstacles I see many ways to do AR glasses in the wrong way. Some would be like not respecting privacy. Some would be, this always-on camera stuff is forbidden in my household. Mm-hmm. Even the Alexa is forbidden. Yeah. So it depends on how people, accept this. So I very much resonate with what you just said.
Just want to add one thing to the barriers. It's not much of a barrier, but I think it's going to be an evolution of the industry because smartphones, we kind of know the traditional players, the chipset providers, the component suppliers, to the system houses to do integration, to the partnerships with Google, Android, right? That ecosystem has been existing, but here in the smart glasses, now you have another element, this fashion element.
Yeah.
So you need that frame maker, you got to have the glass maker all play a role. So I think that's slightly different. It's not exactly a barrier, it's just an adaptation to the new ecosystem needs to be developed.
No, 100%. With that, I think, all the challenges, it's also opportunities, right? That, especially in the audience here, investors, and I think there's a lot, to innovate, which is a great thing, right? There's a lot of opportunities for new businesses, be it on the application and content side, be it on device, be it on core technology. Yes, there's a lot of maturity that we got over the past 10 years or so, but there's still a lot of room for new things, for innovation and unique technologies. With that, any questions from the audience?
Yeah, I have a question on the extended use of these kind of devices on vision impairment or myopia development or progression of myopia. because each age group has different speeds at which the disease develops. Have you given any consideration to that?
I don't have any, deep expertise on this to comment. I don't know if anyone else here on the audience, on the panel.
Actually, so after a lot of talk with my friends at Essilor, I had some insight. It's true that what you say is very true. There are 2 points to make. One, in Asia, especially in China, there is much more myopia because of the people staring on phones a lot. And then I have a friend of mine, the lazy eye. He could cure kids' lazy eye. When you cure it, you have to wear something on an eye. It's not very nice. So he invented a game that people will play on Nintendo. The kids, and it would cure lazy eye. So you're right that there is an impact here. The magic with glasses that have a display. You could zoom, you could have adaptive RX, which is kind of difficult to do. You can do, it's called Alvarez lens, or there is all sorts of solutions with that. Sometimes it's liquid lens, but then they have to be compatible with some temperature change and things like that. So there is a lot there that is quite promising, actually.
Yeah, I think all those technologies come with trade-offs in terms of size and weight and things like that.
Exactly.
You have to take into account. So it's very difficult, but I think that there's a lot of promise there, especially if you start looking at incorporating eye tracking to better understand where the pupil position is and to reproject images and stuff like that to compensate for some of these degradations in the eye's performance. So,
One more question.
So I can remember distinctly when smartphones became useful. Like I had a Dell personal digital assistant, early adopter.
PDAs.
And I used it. It was okay, but it wasn't, I would say, better than my actual paper, journal for that. And of course, when it got useful is when it's all got all the connectivity and everything else, and things just were snappier. So what is kind of the set of features that you think that AR, VR is going to need in order to reach that inflection point where just it becomes really broadly useful to anybody and everybody? And when do you think that's going to happen? Is it happening right now, or is it in 3 years, or did it happen a year ago and I missed it?
You didn't miss it.
Well, just a quick one. To me, it really depends on the use case. And another example of when it became useful, smartphones, was email, right? BlackBerry, right? Very simple. I already do email on a PC. Now I can have email everywhere. Oh, that's useful. And I see many of these happening now with both, on the glasses front and on the headset. On the headsets, it's a better monitor, a better TV. Just having the ability to make as many TVs or monitors as you wish in your environment, not necessarily need for new apps to be developed, just a new way to organize your content and with virtual screens. So that's kind of one example. There are a few more on the headset side. And on the glasses, to me, the key one, of course, is like, Meta has been doing for a few years already, is photography. But then, just having your favorite AI agent, hopefully Gemini, for on the go, without needing to take your phone out of the pocket, opening an app and asking, what is this? And we're almost there, if not already.
I can have a very short answer. I try to plot all sorts of use cases, and I ask myself, is it, like you did, by the way, is it better on a phone? Is it better on a PC? Is it better on the AirPods? Is it better on a gaming device, and so forth? So here is the result. The glasses uniquely enable you to see better, hear better, know better, and capture the moment. This is unique because it's on your face, And of course, I can hear better with a hearing aid, but it's stigmatizing. Whereas here, I can have conversational focus. I hear you better. So that's it. Then I don't have the pretension to know all the use cases, and the best example is Uber, for example. Before the mobile phone, it didn't make any sense. So I don't think we can predict everything. However, if you fall into these categories, I hear better, I see better, I know better, and I can share and communicate more, then you have a good chance to make it work. Now, seeing Mickey Mouse around Hugo is of no interest to me. But, the Pokemon Go, when I said, the size matters, well, it doesn't matter for the Pokemon Go fans. I saw a picture of someone who has 40 phones, and I don't know how many batteries, so that he doesn't miss a Pokemon Go. So that person doesn't care.
Yeah, it depends really on the person and application to solve. But any other?
Yeah, if I can add to what Edgar said, I actually completely agree with the areas of seeing, hearing, and then knowing that's what the glasses are capable of. But to the question is, when is really this uptick of using glasses going to happen? And it's really about figuring out, when does a person use the glasses, for what reason, on a daily basis, right? So basically, what is a use case that it's going to substitute, or maybe even starting with what Hugo, you mentioned about, let's say, email going from PC to the BlackBerry, right? So something where, what are we used to doing? I mean, clearly the smartphone takes pictures all the time, right? Yeah. Is this something that's going to migrate into something that's where maybe the glasses are going to become better at things like that, right? So something that's being done on a daily basis, right? And one thing that I see now more and more is people using AI, right? Clearly ChatGPT and other AIs, Gemini, of course, right? And then they're using the laptop, or they're using the phone to query the interactions and so on, right? Now, if you can make the interactions faster and more intuitive with glasses, you will get these use cases moved over to glasses. And that's when people will use glasses on a daily basis.
Yeah, so maybe I share a little bit. So in my mind anyways, AI is what XR needed all along. So when you talk about the inflection point for maybe audio-only displayless glasses, maybe that inflection point is already there because, you get a lot of the experiences that you want. But for truly immersive applications, I don't think we're quite there yet. You still can have a use case maybe for an hour, maybe 30 minutes or so. And so until people they get a day of use out of their glasses, I don't think that inflection point is there for truly immersive sort of applications.
I have one adder to this application. There's something that really, we can do it today, but we don't because of this extra motion. Like to remember where things are. As simple as that. You have to take out your phone, like where did I park my car? You got to take a picture, right? Yeah. With the smart glasses tied to AI with always on camera, you don't even have to think about it now. You can just have that recall to assist you, especially for the elderly. Did I take my medicine today? You remember, the AI remembers that pill is in your hand, so you probably took your medicine because you can see it. So that is, I think, an unexplored use case for the future that is going to be seamless.
I think that, we could continue on, for the rest of the afternoon here, but, I think that just to sum it up, it's the idea of moving from mobile internet to spatial internet has been there for a while. But my view is that we are, if not, at the inflection point, we're close to it, right? The advancements over the last decade were tremendous, and I think that we should continue to pay attention, to invest, and to search for opportunities to address some of the challenges that we brought up here today. With that, thank you, TDK, for organizing this, and I think that all of us are going to be around for any questions that you may have continuing the discussion.